21 years of mortgage payments, packed lunches, school pickups, and quiet sacrifice ended because I reached for one slice of leftover turkey. My wife took the plate out of my hands and told me to buy my own food. My son was standing in the doorway when she called me a financial parasite. My daughter heard her say she was tired of feeding a man who contributed nothing. Neither child defended me. 3 weeks later, my wife repeated the same lie at her 50th birthday party in front of 30 relatives and 2 cameras streaming live to social media. She thanked everyone who had supported her while she carried an entire household alone. Then she laughed and said some men were born without ambition. Everyone knew she meant me. I waited until the laughter stopped, placed a small wooden box beside her birthday cake, and told her I had finally decided to stop living off her. Inside were 6 house keys, a detailed list of every expense I had quietly paid for 2 decades, and confirmation that I had removed my name and money from every luxury she claimed she provided. By the time she understood what the box meant, my bags were already packed, my apartment was ready, and our children were about to learn which parent had actually been carrying them. My name is Andrew Mercer. I am 52 years old, and I spent most of my marriage believing that if I loved my family quietly enough, they would eventually notice the love, instead of only noticing the silence. We lived in a 4-bedroom stone house in Highlands Ranch, Colorado, a suburb south of Denver, where the schools were excellent, the lawns were regulated, and nearly every family photograph looked like an advertisement for a life nobody actually had. I drove a 12-year-old Toyota Highlander with a cracked plastic panel beneath the passenger door. It was not impressive, but it started in winter, carried sports equipment, and had enough space for groceries, backpacks, instruments, wet boots, and every other object 2 children could forget inside a vehicle. My wife, Serena, drove a pearl-white BMW X7 with heated cup holders, cream leather seats, and a monthly payment larger than the mortgage on my first apartment. She said the car was necessary because she sold luxury homes and clients needed to see that she understood success. I managed facilities for a public school district. That meant boilers, roofs, fire systems, construction projects, energy budgets, emergency repairs, and 22 buildings filled with children whose parents assumed heat, water, lights, and safe classrooms appeared naturally each morning. My job was not glamorous. Nobody posted photographs of the man who arrived at 4:30 during a snowstorm because a middle school pipe had burst. Nobody handed out awards because the cafeteria freezer remained cold, or the gym roof did not leak during graduation. But my salary was steady, my benefits covered our family, and my schedule allowed me to be home most evenings. I chose that life deliberately. Serena later used the choice as proof that I lacked ambition. When Serena and I met, she was 27 and working as an assistant at a property management office. She was magnetic, funny, and so determined to escape the financial chaos of her childhood that I mistook her hunger for security as an ability to value it. Her mother, Marlene, had moved the family 6 times before Serena finished high school. Bills disappeared inside kitchen drawers. Utilities were disconnected regularly. Every unexpected expense became someone else's fault. Serena promised herself she would never live that way again. When we became serious, she admitted she carried nearly $80,000 in student debt and personal loans from a failed interior design program. Collectors called during dinner. She had one card with an interest rate so high that paying the minimum barely changed the balance. I was 30, working as a mechanical engineer for a private manufacturing company and earning more than I needed. My father had recently died and left me a modest inheritance. I used a large portion of it to clear Serena's highest interest debt before our wedding. There was no dramatic announcement. I placed the paid-in-full statements inside a blue envelope and handed it to her after our rehearsal dinner. She read the first page, covered her mouth, and began crying. "Why would you do this?" she asked. "Because we are building something together," I said. "I do not want your past collecting interest inside our future." She wrapped both arms around me and promised she would never forget. For several years, I believed she had kept that promise. We bought the Highlands Ranch house after our first child, Noah, was born. The down payment came from what remained of my inheritance and savings. Serena's credit had improved, but mine still carried the purchase. She signed documents at the kitchen counter of our rental apartment while Noah slept in a carrier beside us. "You gave us a home," she whispered. "We are giving ourselves one," I said. I meant it. Our daughter, Emma, arrived 3 years later. For a long time, the house held the kind of ordinary happiness people rarely recognize until it disappears. Saturday pancakes, plastic toys beneath the couch, fingerprints on windows, Noah asleep against my shoulder during baseball games he was too young to understand, Emma dancing in the kitchen while Serena played music from her phone. We argued about chores, money, and whose turn it was to wake with a sick child. But the arguments ended. We still reached for each other afterward. Then Serena earned her real estate license. I encouraged her. I paid for the classes, covered childcare, photographed her first listing, built her website, and spent evenings stuffing marketing folders while Noah and Emma colored beside me. Serena was excellent with clients. She remembered birthdays, complimented people without sounding false, and could walk through an empty room while describing a future vivid enough that buyers almost saw their furniture inside it. Her first year was difficult. Her second was better. By her fifth, she had joined a high-performing luxury team and was earning more than I was. I was proud of her. I still am, in a distant way. Achievement was never the problem. The problem was that Serena began treating every person who helped create her success as evidence that she had succeeded alone. When the private manufacturing company reorganized, I was offered a role in another state with longer hours and more money. At the same time, the school district advertised a facilities management position. The salary was lower, but the pension was stable, the insurance was exceptional, and I could be home before dinner. Noah had just started elementary school. Emma was 3 and cried whenever Serena left for evening showings. We discussed both options. Serena said real estate required flexibility and unpredictable hours. If you take the district job, one of us will always be available, she said. I accepted it. For the next 15 years, I became the available parent. I woke at 5:30, packed lunches, checked the weather, signed school forms, and drove the children before beginning work. I attended dentist appointments, parent conferences, games, rehearsals, award ceremonies, and urgent care visits. I learned which teacher preferred email and which coach ignored everything except text messages. I cooked 4 nights a week because Serena often returned late. I washed uniforms at midnight. I knew Noah hated mayonnaise but liked mustard on only one side of his sandwich. I knew Emma could not sleep before a choir performance unless someone sat beside her and talked about something unrelated to music. I was not a heroic father. I was their father. That was supposed to be enough. Serena's income grew quickly. So did her spending. First came designer clothing because clients judged presentation, then restaurant memberships because networking mattered, then weekend trips with women from her office because relationships generated referrals. She leased the BMW after closing a large sale and posted a video of herself receiving the keys. The caption read, "Nobody is coming to save you. Work until you become the person you needed." I watched the video while paying our property taxes from my account. Serena suggested separating our finances when her income first surpassed mine. "Independence is healthy," she said. "I do not want either of us feeling monitored." I agreed because I had nothing to hide and because saying no would have allowed her to frame caution as insecurity. We opened separate personal accounts while maintaining one household account. My salary entered the household account because the mortgage, utilities, insurance, taxes, school costs, groceries, home repairs, health expenses, and most family bills were automatically withdrawn from it. Serena was supposed to contribute an agreed amount monthly. At first she did, then commissions became uneven, business expenses increased, and transfers arrived late. She always had a reason. A closing had been delayed, a photographer needed payment, a client dinner would generate future income. Her mother needed help. Her sister needed an airline ticket. Eventually, the household account became my account in everything except name. Serena's earnings remained in her private account. She paid for the BMW, clothing, trips, salon visits, and the occasional dramatic expense that allowed her to look generous. When Noah needed braces, I paid the monthly plan. When Emma needed choir fees, I paid them. When the water heater failed, I paid. When our insurance premium increased, I paid. When Serena bought Noah expensive baseball equipment in front of him, she became the exciting parent. When I paid the property tax that made the house possible, nobody saw it. I did not demand applause. But over time, Serena began treating invisibility as absence. Her mother encouraged it. Marlene visited most Sundays, and brought the sharp energy of someone who considered every conversation a competition. She praised Serena's sales numbers, clothing, car, and vacations. She described my district job as comfortable. Once, while I carried grilled chicken to the patio, I heard her tell Serena, "You married a man who wanted stability because he knew you would become the successful one." Serena laughed. I pretended not to hear. At another dinner, Marlene asked whether it embarrassed me that my wife earns so much more. "No," I said. "Why would it? Some men need to feel like providers. Providing is larger than a salary." She smiled as though I had said something defensive. "That sounds like something a man with a smaller salary would say." Serena did not stop her. The children listened. That was how the story entered our house. Not through one declaration, but through repeated jokes, glances, captions, and comparisons. Mom worked hard. Dad had an easy government job. Mom bought the exciting things. Dad worried about budgets. Mom believed in dreams. Dad asked whether the bill could wait. The story was false, but it was convenient. Convenient stories are difficult to defeat because everyone benefits from repeating them. When Noah was 16, he was invited to join an elite travel baseball program. The fee was $3,800, not including hotels, meals, and transportation. He approached me on a Tuesday, 11 days before the semi-annual property tax payment. I told him I wanted to support him but needed one weekend to move money and review the schedule. "It is not a no," I said. "It is a give me 3 days." Serena entered while we were speaking. She removed a platinum card from her wallet and placed it beside his phone. "Use mine," she said. Noah's face brightened. "Seriously?" "Of course. I believe in investing in your talent." Then she looked at me. "A child should not have to beg both parents for one parent's support." Noah hugged her. I sat at the table while he registered. Serena did not mention that the household account had paid the BMW lease 3 days earlier because she claimed a client payment had been delayed. That same month, Emma asked me to drop her a block from middle school because 2 girls had joked about the Highlander. "It is not you," she said quickly. "The car is just old. The car is reliable." She looked uncomfortable. "Mom says image matters." I stopped where she requested. I watched her walk towards school without turning around and sat there longer than necessary. The embarrassment was not about the vehicle. It was about realizing my daughter had been taught to confuse polish with value. I could have confronted Serena then. I should have. Instead, I continued doing what I had always done. I protected the children from conflict, protected Serena from consequences, and protected the family image from the truth. Every act of protection made the lie stronger. The first unmistakable crack appeared during a Sunday dinner at our house. Marlene, Serena's sister Paige, and Paige's husband were visiting. I had cooked roast chicken, potatoes, and green beans. Serena spent most of the afternoon showing her sister photographs from a luxury listing. When I brought plates to the table, Marlene asked whether I planned to retire early because government employees were practically retired already. Paige laughed. Serena said, "Andrew's schedule is cute. He comes home before 6 like it is still 1,995. I placed the serving bowl down. "That schedule is why someone attended every school event while you built your business." Serena rolled her eyes. "Here we go. You brought up my job." I made a joke. Marlene said, "Do not become sensitive, Andrew. Serena carries the heavy financial responsibility. You carry casseroles. Both roles matter." Everyone laughed except Paige's husband. He looked at me, then at his plate. Noah smiled uncomfortably. Emma stared at her phone. I passed the potatoes. That night, after everyone left, I asked Serena whether she genuinely believed she carried the family. She stood in the bathroom, removing makeup. "Financially? Obviously. My salary pays nearly every household bill. Because your money is predictable. That does not make it less valuable. I pay for everything extra. You pay for visible things. Maybe visible things are what people remember." She said it without anger. That made it worse. "The children are beginning to believe I contribute nothing." "Then perhaps you should do something impressive." I slept in the guest room. The next morning, I packed lunches. Months passed. Resentment became routine. We did not shout often. Shouting might have forced change. Instead, Serena dismissed, I withdrew, and the children adapted to the temperature of the house. We attended events as a family and posted photographs. Serena's captions praised partnership, gratitude, and building a legacy. In one Christmas picture, I stood slightly behind the other three because the photographer had arranged us that way. Serena used the photograph as the cover image for a post titled, "Everything I Work For." People commented that she was an inspirational mother. Nobody asked who had purchased the matching clothes, driven the children, decorated the tree, or paid the photographer. The sandwich happened on the Wednesday after Thanksgiving. The district had closed schools for 2 additional days because a storm damaged the boiler system and flooded several classrooms. I spent 12 hours coordinating repairs inside a building that smelled like wet carpet and overheated metal. By the time I drove home, my coat was damp, my back hurt, and I'd eaten nothing since breakfast. Serena was preparing for a client call in the dining room. Noah was upstairs. Emma sat at the kitchen island editing a video. I opened the refrigerator and found leftover turkey, cranberry sauce, and sourdough bread. I placed 2 slices on a plate. Serena entered while fastening an earring. She watched me spread mustard. "What are you doing?" she asked, making a sandwich. She removed the plate from the counter. "Buy your own food." I thought she was joking. "What?" "You heard me." She placed the bread back inside the bag. "I bought these groceries. The household account bought them. My transfer covered groceries this month. It had covered less than 1/3 of them. Serena, I have been repairing a school since 6 this morning. I want a sandwich." "Then stop expecting me to feed you." Emma stopped touching her phone. Serena continued, "I am tired of carrying a grown man who comes home every night acting exhausted from a job with school holidays and a pension. You live in this house, eat this food, drive the children around, and behave as though basic chores make you equal to the person funding their future." "This house is paid from my income," I said. "Do not start your accounting lecture. The mortgage comes from my account. Because I refuse to spend my career chained to monthly bills. My income creates our actual lifestyle." She pushed the plate farther away. "Buy your own dinner, Andrew. Stop living off me." The refrigerator hummed. Emma looked down. Noah leaned against the doorway, expressionless. I waited for either child to say something. They did not. Maybe that expectation was unfair. Children often freeze when parents expose the structure beneath the family. But in that moment, their silence carried every joke, every eye roll, every social media caption, and every time Serena had purchased something dramatic while I paid for what remained unseen. "Understood," I said. Serena laughed once. "Good." I walked upstairs, changed clothes, and drove to a diner. I ate turkey on rye at the counter while snow gathered against the window. The server refilled my coffee twice and called me honey. That small kindness nearly broke me. I did not decide to destroy my marriage over a sandwich. The marriage had been eroding for years. The sandwich simply revealed that the erosion had reached the foundation. The next morning, I began looking at my life without excuses. I printed 12 months of statements and divided every expense into 4 categories: household essentials, children, Serena's lifestyle, and mine. My salary had covered 81% of household essentials and 76% of the children's direct costs. Serena had covered most of the entertainment, her car, personal travel, and the large purchases she made publicly. I owned 6 pairs of work pants, 2 winter coats, and 1 watch my father had given me. Serena had spent more on restaurants during the previous year than I had spent on myself in 3. The numbers did not make her evil, they made her story false. I opened a new account in my name and redirected my salary. I left enough in the household account for the next 2 months of mortgage, utilities, and children's expenses. I removed automatic payments for Serena's BMW, private club membership, luxury grocery delivery, salon subscription, and personal cards. I did not cancel her accounts. I stopped funding them. I sent a written message explaining the change. Beginning January 1, household essentials and direct child expenses will be divided. I will continue covering the mortgage temporarily and will pay school, medical, and activity costs directly. Your personal vehicle, memberships, travel, shopping, and individual cards must be paid from your account. I will not transfer additional money to cover discretionary spending. Serena read the message while sitting across from me at breakfast. "What is this? A budget?" "We do not need a budget." "I do." "Are you punishing me because of the sandwich?" "I am accepting your statement that I should stop living off you." "Do not be dramatic." Nothing in the message is dramatic. You cannot suddenly change our lives because your feelings were hurt. Paying your personal expenses is not our life. She stared at me. "You are trying to control me financially. You earn more than I do. Then why are you acting like this? Because earning more does not make my income community property while yours remains private. She called me petty and left for work. That evening, her BMW payment failed. She transferred the amount herself within minutes. The world did not end. She simply hated being required to notice the cost. I found a 3-bedroom townhouse 6 miles away, inside the same school district. It was clean, quiet, and smaller than our house. The kitchen had plain cabinets. The living room faced a stand of pine trees. Noah could reach school in 12 minutes. Emma's choir rehearsals remained on the same route. I paid the deposit and signed a 6-month lease. I did not secretly sell the house, hide money, or prepare a dramatic legal trap. I prepared somewhere safe to sleep. I told Serena 1 week later. She looked up from her laptop. You rented an apartment? A townhouse. Without asking me? I am leaving after your birthday party. She laughed. You are not leaving. I am. Over food? Over what the food revealed. You will last 3 days. Maybe. The children are staying here. They can decide where they want to sleep after we talk to them. I will not make them choose a parent. Her face hardened. You have been planning this. Since you told me I contributed nothing, I was angry. No, you were comfortable. She did not tell the children. She assumed I would change my mind. I continued my routines. I drove Noah to practice, attended Emma's winter choir performance, cooked dinner, paid bills, and packed 1 box at a time when nobody was home. I stored the boxes inside a district maintenance building with my supervisor's permission. I began furnishing the townhouse modestly. 2 beds, a second-hand couch, kitchen chairs, towels, basic food. I placed mustard, turkey, and sourdough bread inside the refrigerator on the first night I had keys. Then I stood in the empty kitchen and laughed until the laughter became crying. Serena's 50th birthday fell 3 weeks before Christmas. She combined it with a holiday open house and invited relatives, coworkers, neighbors, and several clients. She ordered catering, floral arrangements, a custom cake, and a photographer. She planned to stream portions online because her personal brand had become part of her business. I helped move furniture because refusing would have created questions before I was ready to answer them. Marlene arrived early and complained that the catered food looked too simple. Paige brought champagne. Serena wore a silver dress and moved through the house like a woman hosting an award ceremony for herself. She had asked the photographer to capture candid family moments, but every moment was directed. Noah was told where to stand. Emma was told to change sweaters because the color competed with Serena's dress. I was placed at the edge of the family photograph. Move half a step back, Serena told me. You are blocking the tree. I moved. At 7:30, everyone gathered near the fireplace for speeches. A colleague praised Serena's discipline. Marlene spoke about raising a daughter who refused to settle. Paige described Serena as proof that women no longer needed to depend on men. Then Serena lifted a champagne glass. I want to thank the people who understand what it takes to build a life, she said. Success looks glamorous after it arrives. People do not see the years of carrying everyone else while pretending the weight is shared. Several guests murmured agreement. My children are my reason. My clients are my inspiration. My mother and sister taught me strength. And Andrew, she turned toward me with a smile, meant to look affectionate. Andrew taught me patience. People laughed. He has always preferred the safe road. There is nothing wrong with a comfortable government job, of course. Every family needs someone available to pick up dry cleaning, while the other person builds the future. More laughter. Noah looked down. Emma's face flushed. Serena continued. I tease him, but we all have roles. Mine has simply involved carrying more of the financial load. Marlene raised her glass. And looking beautiful while doing it. The room applauded. I waited until the noise faded. Then I walked toward the fireplace carrying a small wooden box I had built years earlier from maple. Serena smiled because she assumed it contained jewelry. The photographer moved closer. One more gift, I said. You did not have to, Serena replied, ensuring the camera heard her. I know. I placed the box in her hands. She opened it. Inside were 6 keys, the household summary, copies of the payments I had ended, and 1 short letter. Serena lifted the first page. Her smile disappeared. What is this? The truth about our roles. Andrew, for 21 years, I paid the mortgage, taxes, insurance, health coverage, utilities, repairs, most groceries, and most of the children's ordinary expenses. I used my inheritance to clear the debt you brought into our marriage and make the down payment on this house. I chose a stable job because we agreed one parent needed to be present while you built your career. The room became silent. Serena looked toward the cameras. One was still recording. "Turn that off," she snapped. The photographer lowered his equipment. Emma quietly stopped the social media stream from Serena's phone. I continued. "I am not announcing this to humiliate you. I am correcting the story you chose to tell publicly." Marlene stepped forward. "This is her birthday. She made my contribution part of her speech. You should discuss finances privately." I tried. "For years." Serena pushed the papers back into the box. "He is having some kind of crisis." "No," I said. "I am leaving tonight." Noah looked up sharply. Emma whispered, "What?" "I rented a townhouse nearby. I am not asking either of you to choose a parent tonight. You will have rooms there whenever you want them. I will continue paying your school, medical, and activity expenses directly. I will continue showing up. But I will not remain in a home where my value is measured by whether other people can see what I buy." Serena stared at me. "You cannot walk out during my party. You told me to buy my own food and stop living off you." "I am doing exactly that." I said that during an argument. "You repeated the same belief tonight when you were calm, dressed beautifully, and surrounded by witnesses." Marlene called me selfish. Paige said I had clearly resented Serena's success for years. I looked at them. Serena's success was never the problem. The problem was requiring my sacrifice while pretending it was her achievement. Serena's eyes filled with tears. "The children live here. The children live wherever they feel safe and loved. This is their home. A home is more than the most expensive building available." Noah's face hardened. "Are you seriously leaving us?" The question hurt because it revealed which story he had already accepted. "I am leaving the marriage," I said. "I am not leaving you." "It sounds the same. I understand why it feels that way." Serena placed one hand on his shoulder. "Your father has made his choice." "Do not do that," I said. "Do not use them to punish me. You are the one making a scene. I am the one ending it." I went upstairs, brought down 2 suitcases, and placed my house key inside the wooden box. The party guests moved away from the hallway. Nobody knew where to look. I put on my coat. Emma followed me to the front door. "Were you really paying the mortgage?" she asked. "Every month. Mom said her commissions paid for the house. Her income helped create the lifestyle around the house. The mortgage came from my salary." "Why did you never tell us?" "Children should not have to audit their parents to know they are loved." She began crying. I wanted to take her with me, but I refused to turn an emotional moment into a loyalty test. "Your room is ready whenever you want it," I said. "You do not have to decide tonight." Noah remained near Serena. He looked angry and frightened. "Are you coming to my tournament tomorrow?" he asked. "Every inning. Even after this?" "This has nothing to do with whether I am your father." He looked away. I stepped outside alone. Snow had started falling. Behind me, the house glowed with warm lights and expensive decorations. Through the windows, I could see relatives surrounding Serena. For years, I had mistaken being surrounded for being supported. The townhouse felt empty when I arrived, but the emptiness did not accuse me. I made the turkey sandwich I had been denied 3 weeks earlier and ate it at the kitchen counter. Then I slept for 7 hours without waking to calculate someone else's mood. The following morning, I attended Noah's tournament. Serena did not come. She posted a photograph from the previous weekend and wrote, "Proud of my athlete during a difficult family transition." I sat in cold metal bleachers for 6 hours. Noah hit a double and made a diving catch. When he looked toward the seats, I stood and clapped. His expression changed, only slightly but enough. After the game, he walked past me without speaking. 10 minutes later, he returned from the parking lot. "Can I see the townhouse?" he asked. We stopped there before he returned to Serena's house. I showed him the room. I had placed a desk beneath the window and his old baseball trophies on one shelf. "You brought these?" he asked. "They were stored in the basement. Mom said she organized all my sports stuff." "Your mother did many things. So did I." He sat on the bed. "Did you leave because of us?" "No. Mom says you could not handle her earning more." I was proud she earned more. I could not continue living with someone who used income to make every other contribution feel worthless. "She said you were planning to take her money." "I am not asking for her money." "Then why stop paying things?" "Because her car, private club, salon, travel, and shopping are not my responsibility after she told me I contributed nothing." Noah stared at the floor. She is really angry about the grocery delivery. I almost laughed. She can afford groceries. She says it is the principle. It is. He stayed for dinner. I cooked pasta. He did not move in that night, but he returned 3 days later with a backpack. Emma began spending alternating nights with me almost immediately. She liked the quiet. She also liked that I listened without turning every conversation into content. Serena posted constantly. Photographs of herself beside the Christmas tree. Quotes about women choosing strength. A picture of the children leaving for school captioned, "A mother keeps going even when someone walks away." She did not mention that I still drove them 3 mornings a week, paid the mortgage during the transition, covered their medical insurance, bought groceries for both homes, and attended every activity. People praised her. I stopped reading comments. Serena's lifestyle began changing within the first month. Not because she lacked money, but because she had never tracked how much daily life cost. The BMW payment, household utilities, club membership, insurance upgrades, food delivery, cleaning service, subscriptions, and shopping had quietly consumed more than she believed. She called me after her private card was declined during a weekend trip. "The household account needs money," she said. "The mortgage and utilities are funded. The cleaner has not been paid." "You hired the cleaner. The children live here. The children are capable of carrying laundry upstairs. This is vindictive. No, this is visible." She hung up. Marlene called next. "A real man would not force his wife to count grocery money. Serena earns more than I do. Then why are you treating her like she cannot survive?" "I know she can survive. That is why I stopped financing the performance." She called me bitter. I ended the conversation. The separation did not instantly improve my relationship with the children. Noah remained guarded. He loved the lifestyle Serena provided and felt guilty enjoying my smaller home. Emma apologized constantly for asking me to buy things. I told her the problem had never been supporting them. The problem was being told support did not count unless it looked impressive. We began building new routines. Tuesday tacos, Saturday breakfast, homework at the table, laundry without resentment. Noah eventually admitted Serena had asked him to persuade me to restore the premium grocery service because Dad will listen if you say the food affects training. "What did you tell her?" I asked. "That I can eat normal eggs." We both laughed. It was the first easy moment between us in months. In March, Serena attended a charity gala and posted a photograph with a caption about single motherhood. Emma saw it and became angry. "She was at a gala while you drove me to urgent care," she said. "Your mother is still your mother. Why do you always defend her?" "I am not defending the post. I am protecting you from believing love requires hatred of one parent. She does not protect us from hating you. That is her choice. I will not make it mine." Emma looked at me for a long time. "That is why you never told us about the bills." "Partly. Maybe you should have." She was right. Silence had protected them from adult details, but it had also allowed Serena's version to become the only version. I began answering questions honestly without recruiting them. I showed Noah and Emma a simple household summary when they asked. No dramatic files, no attack on Serena, just numbers. They learned that the mortgage, insurance, taxes, medical coverage, school fees, and most ordinary costs had come from me. They also learned Serena had funded vacations, technology, expensive clothing, and many of their special experiences. "So both of you paid for things," Noah said. "Yes." "Then why did Mom act like she paid for everything?" "That is a question for her," he asked. Serena became furious. She said showing financial information to children was manipulative. Noah replied, "You told us Dad was living off you." Serena did not speak to him for the rest of the evening. He came to my townhouse and slept there for a week. Months passed. The large house became difficult for Serena to maintain while protecting her lifestyle. She sold the BMW and leased a smaller vehicle. She canceled the cleaner and club membership. None of those changes harmed her. They simply offended the identity she had built. She asked whether I would return if she apologized. We met at a coffee shop. "I should not have said the sandwich thing," she began. "This is not about one sentence." I was stressed. "You repeated the belief publicly." "I was joking." "A joke is not funny when the target has spent 2 decades making it false." She stared into her coffee. "I felt threatened by how much the children relied on you. I had not expected honesty." "Why?" "Because I was building everything for them. I worked constantly. Then they came to you with their problems. Because I was home. Exactly. We chose that together. I know, her eyes filled. But when people praise you for being a good father, I felt like they were saying I was a bad mother. When I earned more, I finally had something you did not. So you used it to make everything I did smaller. I suppose I did. And you taught the children to do the same. She looked away. Can we repair this? Perhaps some things, not the marriage. You decided that already? The marriage ended when you needed me beneath you in order to feel successful. She began crying. I did not enjoy it. I had loved her. Part of me always would. But love is not proof that returning is safe. I am willing to build a respectful relationship as parents, I said. I am not returning to the house. What would I need to do? Stop rewriting what happened. Stop using the children to deliver requests. Stop posting private family pain as inspirational content. Acknowledge my contribution without treating it like a favor you are granting me. And then we parent. That is all. That is enough. Serena did not change immediately. Some weeks she tried. Other weeks, she returned to old patterns. She removed several social media posts after Emma told her they were embarrassing. She apologized to Noah for using the baseball payment to humiliate me. She stopped calling herself a single mother after he reminded her that I had him 4 nights that week. Progress arrived unevenly and without a dramatic soundtrack. Marlene never apologized. She said I had broken the family because I could not tolerate a successful wife. I stopped answering her calls. Serena's birthday party remained a legend among relatives, but not in the way she expected. Some people described me as cruel for leaving publicly. Others admitted they had laughed because they believed her version. Paige's husband sent me a message months later. I should not have stayed silent, he wrote. I watched you serve everyone for years. I replied, most people notice foundations only after the building moves. 1 year after the sandwich, Thanksgiving arrived again. Serena invited the children to dinner at the large house. She also invited me. No speeches. Emma warned both of us. I agreed to attend because Noah and Emma wanted one holiday meal without driving between homes. Serena cooked the turkey herself. Marlene came but remained unusually quiet. The table looked smaller without a photographer or social media setup. During dinner, Serena placed a basket of bread near me. Our eyes met. Everyone noticed. Would you like some? She asked. It was a simple question, carrying an entire year. Yes, I said. She handed me the basket. No apology could restore the marriage. But respect sometimes begins inside ordinary moments. After dinner, Serena asked whether we could take one family photograph. For us, she said. Not online. We stood together near the fireplace. I did not move behind anyone. The children stood between us. The photograph now sits inside Emma's room. I do not have a copy. I do not need one. My townhouse became my permanent home. I purchased it after the lease ended. Noah helped paint his room. Emma chose curtains for hers, and then changed her mind twice. I continued managing school facilities, and eventually became director for the district. The promotion increased my salary, but more importantly, it gave me authority to create an apprenticeship program for students interested in skilled trades. I told them the work beneath a building matters even when nobody applauds it. I was talking about more than buildings. My children understand that now, not perfectly. Teenagers still like expensive things and exciting parents. But Noah no longer asked me to park away from his friends. Emma once introduced me at a school event by saying, "My dad keeps everything running." That sentence meant more than any award. I did not win by making Serena poor. She was never poor. I did not win by keeping the house, humiliating her family, or forcing the children to choose me. The victory was quieter. I stopped financing the belief that I had no value. I stopped volunteering for disrespect because confrontation felt uncomfortable. I stopped mistaking being needed for being loved. Serena's career remained successful. My career remained steady. Our children had 2 homes, 2 parents, and fewer lies. Some people might consider the ending unsatisfying because nobody lost everything. I disagree. Destruction is not the only proof that a boundary worked. Sometimes the most satisfying consequence is forcing people to carry the life they claimed they had built alone. Serena wanted financial independence. She received it. The children wanted the truth. They received it. I wanted a home where reaching for food did not require permission. I built it. The sandwich did not end my marriage. Contempt ended it. The sandwich merely gave contempt, a plate, a kitchen, and witnesses. For years, I had believed love meant absorbing every insult so that children would not experience conflict. I now understand that children also learn from what a parent tolerates. They watched me remain silent while Serena made me smaller. Then they watched me leave without cruelty, protect them without recruiting them, and build a peaceful life without demanding revenge. That may be the most important thing I ever provided. A mortgage can shelter children. Health insurance can protect them. Packed lunches can feed them. But self-respect teaches them what kind of love they should never have to beg for. So tell me honestly, if your spouse spent years minimizing everything you contributed, turned your children against you, and finally told you to stop living off them, would you attempt to rebuild the marriage after a sincere apology? Or would that level of contempt make walking away the only healthy choice?